Looks like one of our development parts didn't fare too well in testing. I've put it on hold for now. You can restart work from the laptop. We're going to have to go back now and make some adjustments in order to get the final numbers looking more like we were expecting from the simulation.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2017 career mode, and we are here for round number 6 for the Monaco Grand Prix in season 6. And if you guys have missed the last episode at Spain, then I do urge you to go check that one out. It was a very interesting race with the wet conditions, which tend to be pretty tricky for me with this Williams car. But we come here to Monaco in high spirits and hoping to try and get a good result, and trying to sort of, I'm still looking for that big result to sort of really catapult my season and start my season in the right way, because it's been disappointing so far. So I'm really coming here with a high objective to try and get a really good result, and to be honest, I'm sort of aiming for at least a top 5 finish. I really want to try and have a good race here this weekend, so we'll see how it goes. As you see in the background, practice program is going pretty well, getting purple scores on absolutely everything, and overall the car felt really good. I've got to say, I used Power Unit 1, which is absolutely knackered now. It's shot to bits, and overall I was quite impressed. The car felt really, really good, and the overall performance of the car was brilliant. I was using 1111 aero, and it felt really good. I had a nice balance, and overall I was feeling pretty confident, to be fair, going to qualifying. I thought I could do some damage, and even though it's a Williams and traditionally they don't do well in Monaco, I thought I could sort of rustle my car around the streets of Monaco and pull something out of the bag. So as you can see, in Q1, on our first and only lap, we do go second place, and eventually we would drop down to P5, but comfortably through into Q2 there, and also my teammate Felipe Massa followed me through. But then in Q2 we opted for these Style Super Soft compound tyres, and I thought I'd try my chance on these for the first time in a while, and to be fair, I was actually going pretty damn well, a couple of purple sectors, and eventually we are going to finish the lap, and the question is where are we going to go in the timing sheets, and it's going to be P1, so we do go fastest momentarily. Eventually though we would drop down to P7, but comfortably through nonetheless into Q3. Raikkonen just scraping through there in P10, and Massa unfortunately getting knocked out. But in Q3, if you look in the bottom right, my brake pedal actually stuck, and it was closing my DRS, so I lost a few tenths in this final sector. So my first attempt was pretty poor, so I knew there was some time on the table for my second one. So as you can see, into turn 1, really being aggressive here, really throwing the car into the first corner, wrestling it in there and throwing the front end and hoping it sticks, as we now go up the hill into Massenet as wide as possible, bringing the nose in for the apex and then flicking it right through Casino and then down the hill and now into Mirabeau. Third gear, possibly second gear corner, a little bit of a lock up on the right front, and then down to the lows, hairpin into first gear, little lock up again on the left front, pretty big one actually, and then feeding the car through this next sort of downhill right hander into Portier, and it's critical now through here that you get good exit speed and good traction. And so far we're about 2 tenths up on our previous attempts, and so far it's pretty good for us as we now go into the Nouvelle chicane down the third gear, really attack the apex here. I run in a little bit too hot and actually missed the way I took the corner. I wasn't happy with, because I ran in way too deep, so it affected my exit speed. But through to back, absolutely perfect, flat out pretty much through the chicane at the swimming pool, and then a lot of speed carry through the second part as we now throw it into Raskas here, front end sticking absolutely beautifully, half a second up so far as we now go through the final corner, getting the power on, open up the DRS, and this is where I was going to get a lot of time thanks to my last issue on my last lap. And across the line, the question is, where is that lap going to put us in the shuffle? And it's going to be P2, so a really good lap there, and pulling one out of the bag in the Williams car. And to be fair, that lap was pretty much perfect, with the exception of the little bit of a dodgy line through the Nouvelle chicane. That was a really good lap, and we get second place in qualifying, front row alongside Sebastian Vettel, and we've got Raikkonen there in P4 and Perez in P3 for forcing a really good result for him there, and Alonso bringing up the rear in P10 for McLaren. Good result for those guys. But overall, a very good qualifying session here at Monaco, and I'm looking forward to the race tomorrow with a front row start and the only man in the top 10 on the Super Soft. So without further ado, let's jump straight into Sunday for the Monaco Grand Prix. Right, here we are then for race day at Monaco, and it's P2 on the grid, front row start, which is absolutely brilliant for us, and the target is simple. We've got to try and jump ahead of Sebastian Vettel into turn 1. If we do that, we've got a bloody good chance of getting a good result here today, and unfortunately it's not going to be as plain sailing as I thought the race would be, and as I hope it would be, because there is a chance of rain towards the end. So even if we were to be in the first place towards the end of the first corner, there is a chance, obviously, our race could get ruined by rain later on, or a possible undercut from Sebastian Vettel. So It's going to be a very open race, and there's going to be a lot going on, especially towards the end, and especially if the rain actually comes down, because it's happened a couple of times in the past where we've been trolled and nothing's actually happened with the rain before. So I'm hoping, in many regards, if it does come down, it comes down properly, and we can convert our strategy. But obviously we're starting on the super softs compared to Vettel, who is starting on ultras, and I think everyone else in the top 10 except for me is on ultras, so we're going to be at a disadvantage during this first stint, but hopefully that will come back to me later on. But speaking of race strategy, you can see on screen right now, as you can see, sunny to start with, rain towards the end of the race, 2 of the 6 squares in rain, so that normally does mean there is going to be some rain involved. Now what I've done is I've brought my ultra soft task in 2 laps forward to lap 20, because that's going to be a good time, I reckon, to pit, and that should give us some time hopefully to pit before the rain arrives at the end. Now I think that's going to be a strategy I'm going to follow, subject to change in many regards due to the rain, but also underfueling the car by about a lap, because we don't really need the extra fuel around this circuit. So without further ado, we are now going to jump into it here for round number 6 for the Monaco Grand Prix. Right then, here we go. We're going to get ready to the 5 red lights for the Monaco Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go. It's a very good reaction to the lights. Perez on my inside trying to squeeze through here. I'm going to have to try and go on the outside of the Mexican, leave him a little bit of room on the inside. But there we go. We've held on to our second place, which is probably what I wanted to do, to be honest. Beating Sebastian off of the line would have been very tricky with these tyres. But Vettel holds on to the lead. We're in second place, and Perez not too far behind. But now the question is, what is our pace going to be like on these tyres? And let's see if we can settle into a bit of a race rhythm here, because it's going to be key as this race progresses to see how everything unfolds. Realistically, I need to try and stay with Vettel as much as I can, but we're going to see how this all sort of unravels as the race goes on. We've got yellow flag behind at the hairpin. Something's happened at the Lowe's hairpin here, but we're going to continue on our way and try and settle into this race. 39 laps ahead of us. Let's try and go after it. Oh, virtual safety car deployed. Someone's maybe had an issue, but that's going to be a chance to save the engine and save a little bit of fuel. But so far we're looking pretty good. Sebastian Vettel is he's in another planet. He is absolutely untouchable around here. So unless there's an actual safety car nearer to the time when we pit, then Sebastian's got this one wrapped up. So yeah, it's pretty much battle for second place right now. Sergio Perez, I think. Okay, I just noticed Perez has come in, and that's a very early stop. So Sergio Perez on a possible 2-stop, or if not, he's going to be running the soft compound tyres. So he probably won't be a threat now, because I've still got some pretty good pace on these. So we're going to be running solo for a little while here, I think, and to be honest, in terms of entertainment for the video, it could be pretty similar to Spain, so we might be counting down the laps until the rain arrives, possibly. Okay, I just asked on the radio, first sign of rain in about 10 to 15 minutes, so that's something to keep in mind as we progress further into this race. Oh wow, big news. Car problems for Sebastian Vettel, the race leader, and the rain apparently now only 10 minutes away. This could get very, very interesting very, very quickly. I noticed Sebastian isn't the only guy with car issues, because I think Raikkonen has been very poor, struggling a lot with that Ferrari, and I wonder if the Ferraris might have some teething issues for this particular Grand Prix. Either way, Vettel now with issues just like his teammate. Okay, I think race leader Sebastian Vettel has come into the pit lane, so we're going to inherit the race lead here at Monaco, and that's a very good start for Sebastian, so I'm going to presume he's going to go onto the soft tyres. If he stays out for another set of ultras, which I think he might have done, then that means he's gone on a very aggressive strategy here. So this race just opened up massively, and we've taken the race lead, and I think it might be a net race lead if Sebastian Vettel is on a 2-stop based off of the tyre he selected. So this race has just got very interesting now, and we're leading the Monaco Grand Prix. I think Sebastian's car issues have definitely been resolved, because he is on a mission at the minute, and he is flying around this circuit. As you can see there, 1:11.4, absolutely ridiculous lap time. Sebastian on the hunt. Okay, at the moment the task is simple. We've got to try and keep Sebastian behind us until we pit. There is no way we're going to make it on these tyres until the rain arrives, so we probably have to put on a set of ultras. And what I can do is I can basically keep Sebastian behind me until his ultras sort of lose their competitive edge, and then we can use our ultras to try and stay ahead by doing the undercut, and hopefully that will work for us. That's sort of the strategy I'm going for here. So let's see how this all works out, but so far we're keeping him behind. Now, I'm struggling a bit on traction, and Sebastian might have a run at me here. I'm going to have to sort of cover myself because he's getting a good run. My 11.11 aero is hurting me on the straight, so I've got to be very careful of that. So far we're keeping Sebastian behind, but I've got one eye on the sky, one eye on my strategy, and one eye on Sebastian at the minute. I ain't got enough eyes. Okay, so I think I'm going to come in now at the end of this lap, lap 20. Apparently the rain is about 10 minutes away, so That's about right in my calculations. I don't think I'm going to make it to the rain. I mean, if I do, I'm going to have zero pace because my tyres feel horrible as they are now, and I'm struggling to keep this thing on the road, to be honest. The back end is just way too happy, and I'm having to concentrate so much. I think Vettel will pit before the rain comes, so that's where the gamble comes into play, because if Sebastian comes in, then at least I'll be on ultra softs and I can control him better. Also, I have better tyres in better condition when the rain starts falling, because these will be absolutely shot to pieces. So I'm going to come in this lap for ultra softs, I think. Right then, here we go into the Raskas. We're going to try and get it all slowed down into the pit lane for our first stop, and hopefully we get it all absolutely perfect. I'm taking a big risk here because I could have maybe thrown away the race lead here, but I'm confident that this is the right call, because the rain, apparently I just asked on the radio and it said just over 5 minutes, but I'm not convinced. I mean, another message there saying the rain is still a few laps out, so I'm not convinced that Sebastian, I think he will come in again for dries. I don't think he will stay out until the inters. That's why I'm taking the gamble. So we're going to try and crack on with this. I'm still in second place, which isn't too shabby, but I'm going to try and get a move on here, pump in some lap times and give myself the best chance. Okay, there we go. My plan has worked out. Sebastian Vettel in the pit lane in for super soft, so I'm going to have a tyre advantage. The question is, where is he? I think I'm just going to get in front of him. Yes, I am. There we go. We're going to get ahead of Vettel by quite a bit. Undercut has paid off. Strategy has paid off. And we're on the faster tyre now, so we can try and pull away from Sebastian Vettel. And we now wait for the rain to arrive. There we go. Fastest lap of the race. Still finding pace on these tyres as the rain closes in. And we're pulling away from Sebastian a little bit here. Only a 10th on that lap, to be fair. But, it's important that we keep the gap and stay ahead as we go into the pit lane. Okay, Sebastian responds with the fastest lap of his own. So we're exchanging lap times at the minute. Vettel with some great pace on those super softs. And the rain has arrived. Droplets falling on the track. It's time to be very careful now about driving in these conditions. Okay, the track is getting very slippy, and also we're coming up to a huge train of about 8 lap cars. So with that in mind, I'm sort of hoping the rain just drops a little bit more now so I can come in for inters and try and jump the pack in front of me and not have to pit on the same lap, because there's a lot of lap traffic I've got to get my way through. Also, Sebastian is still there, very close, but he just can't get the traction out of the corners, which he would like to maybe have an attack on me. And the track now is starting to get very slippy, so this might be the lap actually where we transition over to intermediates, I think. Okay, we've hit this massive lap car train, so what I'm going to do is, I'm hoping Vettel gets held up by these guys. I'm going to take the risk and I'm going to come in for the intermediates. So we're going to roll the dice, try and go for something different. And like I said, Vettel can't really gain a massive advantage on me because he's got all that traffic to get through. So we literally just caught up to the back of it there and then. So we're going to have the opportunity to basically try and run in some clean air on these intermediates. And also the rain is constantly coming down, so the track should get a little bit wetter hopefully. So I'm hoping this gamble pays off. If we can just rejoin ahead of Ricardo, that would be ideal, and I think we are going to rejoin. Now we've got to see what the track conditions are like and if we have any pace on these tyres. Here we go onto the track, a little bit risky there, just crossing the white line, or the yellow line should I say, but we are on the track. Now let's see what our pace is like on these tyres. Okay, TYRES is now disabled. So far, it's been a mixed bag. I feel like I maybe went a lap too early onto these, but we'll see. It's very mixed because in the slow speed corners, the dry tyres are faster, but through the fast speed ones, the intermediates are faster. So it really is a mixed bag, but the question is, will Lewis react? It doesn't look like, Sebastian. It looks like Sebastian hasn't pit, so this is going to be my chance now this lap to get some time back on Sebastian and also all of that lapped AI. So I wonder if the AI actually might even come in for intermediates, to be honest. I don't know if they might. Okay, so my engineer just said to me the rain's going to stop in 10 minutes. So it's going to be one of them races where the AI don't actually come in for intermediates. They're going to stick it out on the dry. So we have to make the moves now and make up the time. We've already gained 4 seconds in that middle sector on Verstappen. So whenever we get the chance to make overtakes, we have to make them count. We've got cars in the pits. I think that might be Sebastian, and I think Verstappen is also in as well. I think the AI might have to bite the bullet here and come on to inters because the track is suiting my tyres here. There's Verstappen. He's in the pit lane, I think. Oh, no, it's not. It's just lap cars. So that Verstappen and Sebastian actually stay out. So they're taking the risk here, and I'm getting the time. Okay, getting past the traffic. Grosjean's the first of them. We're going to go up the inside at Raskas, and there is Max Verstappen. So we are on the back of the Dutchman. We've got cars in the pit lane. Lap cars, I think, probably. I'm going to guess. Sebastian stays out. So the leaders are going to just hang out in the intermediates. So here we are. We're very close to Verstappen now, and I'm going to try and make the move on the Dutchman very swiftly here. We're going to try and pick up some traction out of turn 1 up the hill, and the question is how much grip are we going to have around this outside line at Massenet. The question is, the answer is, it's quite a lot. I'm going to try and slip my car through on Verstappen here up the inside of Casino, and we've re-inherited P2. Now, let's see if we can catch Sebastian. Okay, the gap was 10 seconds to Sebastian across the line. It's now 6.6. Oh, yellow flag, Sebastian Vettel's gone for a spin, and the conditions just too much for the dry tyres. Verstappen also went for a spin at the end of the last lap, so both Sebastian and Verstappen just aren't able to make those tyres last. Verstappen has actually come in for intermediates. He just can't make the dries get to the end. I think Sebastian might have made the same mistake here, and Sebastian might actually end up pitting, but we are now back in the race lead, and our gamble to intermediates has paid off. To be fair, even if I stayed out on dries, I wouldn't have made it to the end because I pit so early for ultras. 19 laps would have been impossible, so I would have had to have pit anyway. So it's good that my gamble for intermediates has now paid off, so we can now cruise to the finish and try and bring this one home. Here we go, through the final sector for the final time. We are over 30 seconds clear of the next car. Sebastian had to come in for intermediate, so he's given up a podium with 2 laps to go. Meanwhile, we're going to come through Anthony knows the final corner for the final time, and finally, after 6 races, we're going to win in Season 6. Get in, finally, and what a race to do it at, around a track that this car does not normally suit, but if you've got the driver skill and you've got a bit of magic behind you, you can pull it out of the bag. And we had to dig deep for that one and get the strategy absolutely perfect. And it all paid off. And we eventually got the win. And a 25 point. Wow, that is big. That is massive. 25 points for the first time this season in a race. That is really, really good for me. That really gets my championship back on track, with Raikkonen and Vettel scoring very few points. So that's going to really help me get back on track, like I said, in the Drivers' Championship. And also, it's going to give us as a team a big boost. I believe Felipe Massa actually retired in that race. So it's going to be some good points for the team, albeit Massa having some issues. And Sebastian Vettel only manages P5. So Sebastian there throwing it all away with 2 laps to go at the end there. But as you can see, there is the podium. We're on top. Perez to my right and Verstappen to my left. But overall, an absolutely fantastic Monaco Grand Prix. And we're now going to move into the final race results, drivers and constructors standings, to see how exactly everything shapes up in all the championships after the absolutely crazy race that went pretty mad right at the end there. But let's get into it. Right, so looking at the final race results, we win the Monaco Grand Prix after 6 attempts this season. We finally break our duck, and after a topsy-turvy season, we've got a big fat 25 points to our name. Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen join us on the podium with Ricciardo in P4. Sebastian Vettel only manages P5 with his teammate in 6th place, and Lewis Hamilton in P7 there. Alonso, Magnussen and Ocon all picking up the 10 of the points. Ocon from P18, incredible recovery for him. And then further down the order, you can see that we have Massa, the only DNF of the race, and Bottas all the way down in P14 there. But in terms of the driver standings, as you can see, it's still a Ferrari 1-2, and they're both covered by 7 points, with Hamilton 11 points adrift, and Ocon loses a few points here today. Meanwhile, we jump up to P7, overtaking Max Verstappen, which is really good news for us, and overall it's pretty damn positive, which is going to mean the constructors, we are still very close to Red Bull, only 8 points behind, and Force India re-overtake Mercedes. But overall, a very, very enjoyable Monaco Grand Prix here today, but we are going to pretty much call it a day there for the episode. I don't have enough resource points to make an upgrade, so thank you guys ever so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do slap a like on the video. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and also please be sure to check out these videos on screen if you have missed them by chance. And also please do check out GT Omega in the links down below in the description. Use the code TOM97 for 45% discount on any of your purchases. But other than that, guys, a massive thank you for watching. Let's see you on my next video next time. Goodbye.